Peace. Love and light to you. Thank you for the questions. Appreciate that. Got a quick response from some of the videos on Garvey, part 1, 2, and 3, various segments. So I'm going to answer a few questions in here. I did forget to include one of the articles that I commented on. Probably should have included it. I don't know what happened, but I forgot to put it up in the first segments. So once again, contact information is solid, SOLID, mind, MIND, productions at gmail.com, solidmindproductions at gmail.com. And I already covered the Yarmouth and the meaning of the Yarmouth and the Yarmouth Lodge just out of London, England, Yarmouth Masonic Lodge. I covered some other things in the first series of Garvey, but once again, it's just no disrespect to anyone. We're just uncovering some truth. It's kind of harsh, and it may be a little different than reported. We never really know, but just presenting the previous articles raises a lot of questions about Garvey, including some of the stuff out of court that he said himself. So I'm going to proceed with some of the other information I should have presented but forgot. But thank you for the questions again, and I'll get to the questions right away. So we will go to this article, which is one of the ones that's very important, and I should have made sure I got that in the last video, but like I say, I don't know what happened. I just didn't get it in. But I did comment on it, so I want to make sure that I do clarify a few things. So here's the answer to your question. I believe it was a young lady, not sure. But Richmond Planet, Richmond, Virginia, Friday, August 18th, 1922. In this article is pretty much just, once again, clarifying some things we talked about. It goes on to say Garvey misrepresents not only the attitude of native-born, see this? Misrepresents not only the attitude of native-born colored Americans, native-born, doesn't say born in Africa or slaves from Africa or descendants of slaves from Africa, but native-born colored Americans, but 75% of the foreign-born when he surrenders to imperial wizard of this bloody and bigoted band of outlaws. Just previously talking about meeting with the Klan, and I explained that the Klan had a lot of power and authority during the early 1900s. They had infiltrated just about every aspect of the government of the country, except for a few little areas they hadn't penetrated yet, but they were pretty much almost all powerful for a few years. Because of Jim Crow laws, they were being allowed to do things, and certain members of society were allowed to do things. But I also want to point out something in this article, and it talks about 75% of the foreign-born also. There is a lot of, not a lot, excuse me, but there were a large amount of foreigners that came into the Americas during the 1900s, during this time, and they looked just like us. So a lot of people you see coming over from Ellis Island, they're really only showing you certain Europeans, but a lot of them were our complexion. As a matter of fact, there was a film about the FBI, the Klan, and the mob, and the Klan had mistakenly killed some Italians in the South, and I believe there was a well-known actor that played in the movie. They didn't really go into the entire story, but the what is his name? Can't think of his name. Ben Affleck, I believe. Ben Affleck is in the movie. But the Klan had mistakenly killed some Italians. They thought they were Negroes or colored people, but they were Italians, and it led into a battle between the Mafia and the Klan for a brief amount of point until they got that settled. But once again, you know, that just kind of pointed to a lot of times there's a serious misrepresentation of Italians in the 1900s and even Irish and other people from Europe that could pass as you, because like I say, we got to be careful on the whole complexion thing, as I mentioned in some of the previous segments. But it says right here, there is no obligation to Garvey and his followers choosing Africa as their adopted home. Let me see if I can enlarge that for you people. Okay. Choosing Africa as their adopted home. But there is no objection to his pandering to the prejudice of bigots and traitors opposed to the principles of the Republic. Now, when you hear of the Republic, what they're doing is they're reminding you, it's almost another type of mockery. They're laughing at the classes of people who do not still comprehend that America, the agreement, the treaty, the Constitution, the organic Constitution, which was not even written in English, is written in one of our languages. But the organic and the original, it was supposed to be established as a constitutional republic and not a democracy. Okay, democracy, demonocracy, demons rule, crazy demons, and republic, Ra, Ray, public, people, open, people of the sun is what the word republic means, because only a republic can be ran by the Autochtho'nous original people of the territories in which republics were set up. So you have a lot of people throwing the word republic in your face today. That's because they're talking about you, but they know that you don't know that they're talking about you. So it's mockery. They're kind of making fun of you in a way by saying this is supposed to be a republic, and you're constantly rallying around a democracy and saying democracy, and democracy means ruled by demons or demonocracy or crazy demons, and it is really, a democracy is mob rule. And democracy is what overthrew the republic. And this was happening during this time in the 1900s, when the democracy was beginning to make moves through secret societies and the systems of Marxism, communism, socialism that had infiltrated our communities. Because the whole trick is to get you to go against your own best interests. It's to get you to go against your own nation, which is treason. And anytime you do that, you know, the punishment for treason is death, and you'll be offered no corner. So not only dropping your original titles, but claiming other titles of chattel like Negro, black, and colored, you're basically going against your own nation, because we're not Negro, blacks, and colors. We have a nationality, had a nationality, still do. But let's continue. So it says right here, they're opposed to the principles of the Republic. All right? And under the Republic, there's about 5 different laws that are connected to others, but under democracy, there's about 1,000 laws. And you can never learn and follow all of them. So which one do you really want to be under? The Republic wasn't set up by so-called white, pale people or Europeans. It was set up by the original people of the territory. So here it goes. Here it is right here. Okay? This is what I was mentioning earlier about him selling birthrights. He would sell the birthright of 15,000 native-born loyal Americans. Now, 15,000 native-born loyal Americans. It says 15,000 because when we were dealing with the immense wealth, there was about 15 to 20,000 individuals who, when we get into the industrial area, get into farming, we get into inventors, we get into transportation, and we get into vast landowners of what we call seaports, which we owned a lot of the seaports in the South that were engaged in trade. So that's another thing that we're going to get into about slavery. Is we're finding that a lot of us own some of those, the land and the territory where the seaports were and the trade was established. So how in the hell were they bringing in hundreds and thousands of slaves just 80 years earlier when we actually owned some of the ports under that number of 15,000 to 20,000 of us, native-born, loyal Americans. You see how it's saying, native-born, loyal Americans. We are the original Americans. Look up Webster's definition, 1828 American. Okay, we are that. So the reason why it says 15 to 20,000, it's supposed to be 15 to 20,000, but that's another article. But 15,000 native-born Americans. Within that 15,000, that would be the percentage of what we would call the billionaires of our day and time at that time. So this is a pretty serious article because it's telling you exactly what Garvey and other movements like his and people that were supporting him were doing. This is probably one of the, for those of you who really understand nationality, you can already comprehend the words that's being used. This fucked me up when I saw this. I was like, oh man. Excuse my language for the children, but they were just pretty much telling us flat out. They were telling everybody flat out in 1922 what was really happening. So remember this, is that the enemy will always tell you what's going on because now they don't have to worry about karma, specifically the certain types who engage in different belief systems with rituals and societies. They know that they have to tell you something so they don't suffer what's called karma. He would sell the birthright of 15,000 native-born loyal Americans. Once again, this is the number 15 to 20,000 of our people at the time had immense wealth under their system. This is since their system came into place. It would be probably way more than that, 9, 10 million, 20, 30 million, way before their system came into place. But 15,000 native-born loyal Americans. So this would be the people that were networking with the banks and were networking with farmers and the whole nine. They would be billionaires by our time. Once again, I read articles to you earlier saying that Garvey defrauded about 40 to 50,000 people out of their life savings. They don't ever tell you about the life savings. You have to find that in one article. A lot of people had to start completely over because they were dumping everything they had in the Garvey's movement. And there was some wealthy people that lost too, some politicians. So Garvey, being a foreigner, does not know that the Klan is the same organization that outraged the mothers of the present generation of colored Americans. Okay, now I want to say something to you. Right here he says, the article says he would sell the birthright of 15,000 native-born loyal Americans. It doesn't say colored Americans. Do you guys catch that? Okay. He would sell the birthright of 15,000. Excuse me. That's not 15,000. I'm sorry about the people. Excuse me. That is actually 15 million. Hold on. Yeah, it is right here. He would sell the birthright. I'm tired. I've been on Garvey's ass for quite a while now, so fatigue sets in a little bit. But and it is depressing. It is depressing. It's affected me in several ways, man. So he would sell the birthright of 15, 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. That says 15 million. But we'll just say 15,000. Maybe it's a typo, but it says 15 million. Native-born loyal Americans. It doesn't call them colored Americans here. It says native-born loyal Americans. But here it goes on to say present generation of colored Americans. Y'all see the difference? Moors who know law, and those of you who don't call yourselves Moors, but those of you who know law, do you catch the difference in that? The difference in how that's stated. He would sell the birthright of 15 million, 1,000 native-born loyal Americans, and then right here it says the same organization that outraged the mothers of the present generation of colored Americans. See how it uses two different words? Because now they became, and I was just saying, colored Americans. Maybe these ones up here, the 15,000, maybe they actually had a national. I'm pretty sure they had a nationality. They might even been using it on paper, but maybe just wanted to invest in Garvey and give it a shot. But right here it says, murdered his fathers, desecrated the black dead in their graves. So it continues to talk about the Klan and coming into power. So here it is. This is what I want to point out to you, man. The black and dead in their graves and coming into power in Reconstruction days. You all think they've been in power for so goddamn long. You think that they were set everything up. You think they was running it. They didn't come into power until and I've been telling people that for a while. Reconstruction. If you've been in power, why you need to reconstruct anything? You don't need to redo nothing. You've been in power. You're in power everywhere. You ain't got to change nothing. You ain't got to change nothing. If they so powerful, been killing everybody for so long, been dominating everything, why did they need to do reconstruction? Oh, because see, the blacks were coming out of slavery, and see, the whites were getting mad because the blacks were taking the jobs. Another story we fell for. It says again, the black dead in their graves and coming into power in Reconstruction days. Nullified emancipation, established Jim Crow cars, and revenge political disenfranchisement upon the black race in the South. Everything kicked off during Reconstruction, man. That's right around the 1900s was when everything was really, really kicking off. Resents Garvey's slur. When Garvey says this is not the colored citizen's country in the same sense that it is the country of every other loyal American, black or white, now, he knows nothing of history of the race of this country. He does not know that the black man played a vital part in explorations of settlement of this continent. This article goes on to talk about a lot of things that we know in black history. The settlement of this continent, there were 40 black men with Balboa when he discovered the Pacific Ocean. Balboa was so-called melanated. Found a tribe of black men living on the shores of South America. Did you guys hear that? Y'all hear that? He does not know that the black men were with all the Spanish discoverers and explorers. Spanish is just another replacement for the word of Moor. Those were the ones that came from Iberia, the Iberian Peninsula. This could not been what's called Al-Andalusia. Now, during the time of Balboa and Cortez, Spain was not known as Spain. Remember that. This was had another name. All right. So when he went into Mexico with Serona, when he went to Kansas in 1591, Kansas was known as another territory. He does not know that colored men helped establish the first settlement in Jamestown, 1607. The establishment was already melanated at the time. He talks about Africans being with Ponce de Leon. Ponce de Leon, another melanated, Estevanicio. We have pictures of him. He was also called Estevanicio the Moor. All right, so explored the present state of Texas, Chickasaw. I give that word Texas in another video. He does not know that black men were with George Washington, the French and Indian Wars. It just goes on and on and on, people, so I wanted to point that out to you. This is an article I forgot to read to you, very important, and that was out of what's called the Richmond Planet, Friday, August 18th, 1922, on Garvey. Let me hit you with a few other things as I conclude this new one here. This is pictures of Nation of Islam when they wore fezzes. Of course, they have the star and crescent on them, but they removed their fezzes and went to bow ties and hats. This is Prophet W.D. Farrar, Lost Found Brothers of Islam. So they did remove their fezzes. They wore fezzes at one time, and they started doing something different than Drew Ali was doing. They weren't teaching the same thing as Nobel Drew Ali was doing. So it's Elijah with his fez on and holding up the Quran with the Q. He's not holding up the Circle 7 Moors. It's the Quran with the Q, okay? Here are Garvyites with the fezzes on. Carlos Cook was a Garveyite. So they were wearing fezzes at one time, going back and forth probably between organizations. But they may not been trying to switch up. We just don't know. At the same time, these could be NOI members as well. They could have been Nation of Islam members as well. There was a lot of different things going on. People were separating different organizations at the time. This is Deuce Muhammad. It says, Marcus Garvey learned a lot from Deuce Muhammad about the ideology of Pan-Africanism. Even though Marcus Garvey never converted to Islam, Garvey learned basic precepts of Islam from Deuce Muhammad Ali. It is evident that Garvey had great respect for the Prophet Muhammad. Tony Martin reports in the Negro World even compare Garvey to Muhammad the Prophet. Isn't that something? Yep. It is possible that Deuce Muhammad Ali was a Freemason and a Rosicrucian. Okay, so people confuse Nobel Drew Ali all the time. I've seen that several times. Right? So I wanted to point that out to you as well. And then here's the last one I wanted to show you. I'm going quick because timing. But this is Captain Joshua Cockburn, the Black Star Line, the Whiskey Cruise, and the origin of Rum Row. So you could pull that up in the Secret History of Scarsdale. Just pull up this title. Captain Joshua Cockburn, the Black Star Line, the Whiskey Cruise, and the origin of Rum Row. And you will read about, I'm going to show you this picture. You see what this says right here, the Yarmouth, right here. Why doesn't this say the Phyllis Wheatley or the Frederick Douglass? It always stayed the Yarmouth, right here at the bottom. Yarmouth, owned and manned by colored men. The Yarmouth, okay, that was the name of the shit. It didn't change. I mean, they pull them all on y'all when they try and tell you that it was the Phyllis Wheatley. It was a lie. Because they were really saying they had more ships than they really had. So this goes into the issues that Captain Cockburn had with the UNIA and Garvey, and the issues with the ship, and what Garvey wanted him to do. Is extensive. It's a good article. But when you get a chance, you can pull that up. Once again, it's showing you that there was a lot of things that you just weren't told about Garvey and about the UNIA and just a lot of things in the 1900s. So I leave you again. Peace and blessings, love and light. And if you want to connect and build, not time for debating, but if you want to connect and build, solid SOLID, mind, MIND, productions at gmail.com. And once again, you all be safe out there. Safe travels to you as we continue this journey in life, man. Just learning things is, we're just learning. So we out here building, man. Peace. Be safe.